class, everybody. We're gonna have a nice energizing heat building class today. So we'll get started in a reclined position on your back. And keep a bend in the knees, bringing your feet wider than hips width distance, and allow the knees to knock inward towards each other. Arms can be out long by your sides, palms face up, or any other position that you feel comfortable in. Soften through the eyes. Take a scan of the body. Relax to the hips, allowing them to sink deeper towards the mat. Notice if you feel any tightness in the chest. Can you breathe into that space? Start to focus your attention on the breath. Deepening the inhalations and softening your exhalations. This concentration on the breath creates a discipline. So in our yoga practice, we try and discipline ourselves so that we can find a smooth, soft breath, even in the most challenging of poses, in hopes that we can take that same meaning out into our lives. Ask yourself now and during practice, where is my mind? It's constantly wanting to go other places other than the present moment. So if we can draw the attention back to the breath, then we know where the mind is at all times. And if thoughts or feelings or ideas start to come up during practice, and politely ask them to come back later and allowing them to float away and through the body. Take a deep breath in through the nose, feeling the belly rise, ribs expand. Hold it at the top for 3, 2, 1, and then open the mouth, audible exhale. Deep breath in through the nose. Maybe feeling it travel up into the chest and into the belly. And then hold it for 3 counts, 2 and 1. Release through the mouth. So to reach the arms up overhead. Just stretching along the side the sides of your body. Keep pressing the hips down into the mat. And here you can allow the ribs to flare outward. Just feeling a little bit of an extension in your spine. And your hands can stay here. You can bring them out towards the sides. And if your feet aren't already about mat width distance apart, bring them there now. And then start to knock your knees over towards the right and then over towards the left. And then repeat. Just windshield wipering the knees and shins back and forth. Finding an internal and external rotation of the hip. And then bring the knees all the way over towards the right and pause here. If you'd like a little bit more, cross your right ankle over the left knee. And not forcing the left knee down into the mat, but just gently reminding it to go where it may. You might find a bit of tightness or tugging sensation along the lower side of the left side body. Just a nice stretch here. Take one more full inhalation and exhalation. Then replace the right foot, bring the knees all the way over towards the left, cross the left ankle on top of the right knee if you did that on the other side. Encouraging that right knee to come deeper towards the mat, but it doesn't have to touch the mat, just the direction of movement. But one more full breath here. And then bring your knees up towards the ceiling and bring your knees in towards your chest. Grab for your shins and tuck your head up in towards your knees, squeezing the core down into the mat. And then release, bringing the spine back down onto the mat. But allow the knees to stack over the hips and then flex your feet so that the shins are in line with the ground. Hands can stay down, palms face down so that you have a bit of stability here. And then keep your left knee where it is, right knee in a 90-degree angle. And you're just gonna tap the right heel towards the mat. And then bring it right back up. Tap the right heel towards the mat and then bring it back up. Exhaling when you bring it up, inhaling on the way down. We're gonna do 7 more. Exhaling on the way up, inhaling on the way down. Try and keep the navel pressing in towards the spine, low back pressing down towards the mat. Two more. And then we're going to switch sides, tapping left heel down, inhaling to come down, exhaling to come up. 5 more. Focus on the breath, connecting breath with movement. Good. And then in this kind of flipped tabletop position, inhale the shoulders up off of the mat, extend the hands forward, and just pump the arms up and down. You can keep the knees bent in a 90-degree angle or straighten through the legs, or bring your legs to a 45-degree angle or somewhat of that nature. to feel more of an activation in the core. We're going to be here for 10 more counts to start to smooth the breath. Deep inhalations and exhalations. Steady through the core. Gaze is forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees in towards the chest and wrap your arms around the shins. Rock from side to side. And then pause in the middle and then start to rock up and down from your tailbone all the way up between the shoulders. And then on your upswing, pause, sitting on your seat in a boat pose or Navasana. Legs can be bent or straight, but keep pulling up through the chest like you have a string in the middle of your sternum pulling up towards the ceiling. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Palms are face up. Gaze between the legs. Maybe even up towards the toes if your legs are straight. Take one last deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale, cross the shins in front of you. Plant your hands down and make your way into a tabletop. Stack the hips over the knees. And then bring your forearms down so that the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Your forearms are parallel with one another in the shape of the number 11. Palms are flat down on the mat. And tuck the floating ribs in, going for a nice flat spine, pulling the tailbone back and crown of the head forward. Gaze is down in between the forearms, keeping the neck spine long. And then on your inhale, you're gonna dip, arching the back, bringing the gaze up, tailbone up towards the sky. And then exhale, round through the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale for cow position on the forearms. And then exhale, press into your cat. Keep moving through these cat-cows or variation of cat-cows on your forearms. Moving to the rhythm of your own breath. And this is an opportunity to explore the body, identifying places that might feel a bit more sticky. Notice any pulling along the sides, body. And feel free to add any additional movements, moving through the rib cage, snaking the spine, but keep your breath alive. About 2 more rounds before we'll meet in a neutral position. Long spine. Press into the forearms and feel almost for like a doming in your upper back, pressing the shoulder blades away from one another. Stabilizing through the shoulder joint. Tuck the toes under and just lift the knees so that they're hovering over the mat, about 1 or 2 inches. Keep the hips in line with the shoulders. 1 breath in. And then on your exhale, start to walk the left foot back, extending through the leg, and then the right foot back, extending through the right leg. Bring the left knee back in. Keep those knees hovered, and then the right knee in. Extend through the right leg. Toes reach back towards the back of the room. And then follow with the left leg. Bring the right knee in and follow with the left. Extend through the left, extend through the right, bend back into the left, bend back into the right. We're going to keep moving through these nice and slow, really articulating your movements, keeping the core engaged. Couple more rounds. Notice where your breath is. And one more. Good. We're gonna meet in this forearm plank, and then press your hips up, walking the feet forward. Hips go high, making our way into a dolphin pose. Now you can stay here if you have any sort of wrist pain or injury. But if not, press into the left hand, bringing it underneath the shoulder, and then the right hand, coming into a standard downward facing dog. Now take a couple of rounds of breath here, pedaling through the feet, bending into one leg, straightening through the other, and then switching. Just to gauge how open the backs of the hamstrings are. And then once you come into stillness, inhale the right leg up and back, and then bring it all the way forward, knee in towards the chest. Keep the heel lifted in towards the right glute, tuck the chin, and then bring it all the way back, three-legged dog. Inhale here, and then exhale, squeeze it in towards the nose, maybe even tapping the chin or the forehead towards the knee. Inhale, three-legged dog. And then exhale, bring the right foot on the outer edge of the right hand. Come down onto the left knee so that you're in a wide, low lunge. Untuck the back toes. Keep the left hand planted down, and then open up towards the right side. Gazing up towards the right fingertips. Just allowing a more of an opening through the collarbones. One more exhale, encouraging that left shoulder to come further towards the right knee. And then bring both hands back to center. Inhale the chest forward, squeezing the shoulder blades behind you. And then untuck the back toes, straighten through the left leg, and then straighten through the right leg. Both legs working towards straight. You can keep a flex into the right leg, or into the right foot, pressing the toes back towards your face. And then send weight back into the right foot. And we're gonna step the left foot forward. So if you need to walk your hands out further in front of you and gain a little bit of a momentum to step the left foot wide. Bring your hips down low so that they're in line with your knees, and bring your arms out in front of you. Active squat. If you feel like your arms are reaching so far forward to keep you keep that counterbalance active, pull the arm bones in towards the arm socket so that it can lift your chest forward. Take a deep inhale in through the nose, and then exhale, straighten through the legs. Bring the hands to heart center. Bring the arms up overhead, gaze comes up. And then exhale into your active squat. We'll be here for one breath. Try and keep your weight on the outer edges of your feet, lifting up on the arches. One more inhale. And then exhale, plant the hands down. Step the feet back so that you're in an upper push-up plank position. And here you can go through 1 to 5 push-ups depending on what you need today. And if you want to come down onto the knees to train your body to do push-ups in the correct form, that is okay too. And once you're in a low push-up position, press the tops of the feet in towards the floor, lifting up the knees, rolling the shoulder blades down the back, gaze comes up, and then exhale, tuck the toes under, hips come all the way up, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up and back. On your exhale, bring it in towards your chest, rounding through the spine. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the knee in towards the chest. Really press the low back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, left foot comes on the outer side of the left hand. Come down onto the right knee. And then open up towards the left. Keep lifting up through the left fingers so that you're not dumping any weight into the right shoulder. One more exhale here. And then plant both hands down. Inhale the chest forward. And then flip the toes under on the right foot, straighten through the right leg, and then straighten through both legs. Pressing your weight back. It's okay if that right heel isn't on the mat. Mine is certainly lifted. We're just looking for a deeper stretch on the back of the left leg. Come up onto the fingertips if you feel like your spine is rounding forward. And then on your inhale, send weight into the left foot, and then maybe rock a couple of times so that you can get that right foot forward and come into your active squat. Can you press in towards your core a little bit more, activating front side body? One more inhale here. Exhale, straighten through the legs. Hands come to heart center. Inhale the arms up overhead, deep inhalation, and then exhalation. Come into your active squat. One more inhale. Exhale, plant the hands down, step the feet back, and travel through your flow. Option for more push-ups if you'd like it. And we'll meet back in a downward facing dog. We're gonna move a little bit more swiftly. So inhale the right leg up overhead, and then straight into a low lunge. Right foot coming to the outer edge of the right hand. Left knee can stay lifted if you'd like. Twist open towards the right of your space on your exhale. Inhale, come back to center, opening up through the chest. Exhale, push back into your wide pyramid pose. Inhale, come forward and bring the left foot in line with the right. Active squat. Deep inhale here. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Arms reach up overhead. And then on your exhale, active squat. Bring your hands down. Step or hop the feet back and travel through your vinyasa, upper push-up to lower push-up, up dog to downward facing dog, or skip it. Inhale, left leg lifts up. Bring it to the outer edge of that left hand. Twist open towards the left side on your exhaling, twisting from the low spine, then thoracic, and then cervical. Come back to center, inhaling the chest forward, and then exhale, straighten through both legs. Inhale, step the right foot forward, active squat. One full breath here. Exhale, straighten through the legs. Oh, hello, Samus. My cat wants to practice yoga today. Inhale, the arms lift up overhead. Exhale, active squat. Inhale, plant the hands down, step the feet back, travel through your flow. Take 2 full breaths in downward facing dog. Encouraging your heels to press in towards the mat. Stay active in the legs, pulling up on the kneecaps. Gaze in between your hands and take steps towards the front of your mat. Take as much time as you need to get there. And once you do, measure out hips width distance with the feet. That's about 2 fists in between the arches of your feet for a quick measure. And bend into your knees here. If you feel a tugging in your low back or your hamstrings are really tight, don't think that you need to have straight legs to forward fold. Rather, feel really heavy in your upper body. And just allow the thighs to support your ribs. Grab for opposite elbows here and sway from side to side. Maybe even using your hips to propel your upper body back and forth like a pendulum. If you're staring down at your toes, stare in between the legs so that you can elongate the back of the neck. Just letting that head hang really heavy. Inhale, bring the hands towards the mat. And then come into a halfway lift, bringing the fingertips to the shins or up onto the thighs, anywhere but your knees. Rock weight into your toes so that you can encourage the hips to come over the heels. One deep inhale here, pulling forward through the crown of the head. And then exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Really bend into the knees so that the hips can be in line with the knees. Lay your ribs so that they're flat on your thighs, and then bring your arms forward. Palms face towards each other. Gaze is down, out past the toes. Check in with the breath. And then bring the arms out like airplane wings, either towards your sides or fingertips towards the back of your space, palms face down. Notice what you're doing with your face. Can you relax through your cheeks? Allow the tongue to fall away from the roof of the mouth. Maybe even give yourself a slight smile here in this half chair. And then bring your arms behind you, interlacing the fingertips. Squeeze the elbows together and shoulder blades together. Straighten through the arms and then straighten through the legs as much as you can. Sweet release. Encourage the hands to press over your head, giving yourself a nice shoulder stretch here. But don't forget about the legs. Actually press the shins and ankles away from one another and feel how that engagement travels up your legs into the sits bones, almost feel for your sits bones pulling away from one another. One more exhale here. Release the bind and swing your arms forward, coming into a chair pose. Arms reach up overhead. And then exhale, stand up straight, hands come to heart center. Take a few deep breaths here. Shift weight into both feet, rocking from side to side. And notice where you're carrying your weight. Can you evenly distribute your weight into both feet, pressing into the big toe mound, the outer edge of the foot and the heel. Good, and then feel for a rising sensation, traveling all the way up your body, through your spine, towards the crown of your head. Good. Now stay in your mountain pose. Just open up your eyes and look at the screen. I'm going to turn this way so that you can see me better. But there was a good question at the end of class last week about a Warrior Two pose. The question was, is it better to keep the knee in line with the toes or at a 90-degree angle? And so what was happening is she was getting this 90-degree angle, but the knee was bowing in. So the answer to that question is it is better to keep the knee in line with the toes, even though she might have not have been able to get that full 90-degree angle. And so the reason for that is we want to create an external rotation to the hip. So the knee is a hinge joint, like the elbow, and it's not supposed to rotate any other way. The rotation is mostly coming from the hip and the ankles, because that's the type of ball and socket joint that it is. So in this next portion, we're going to feel for that relationship of internal rotation of the hip, external rotation of the hip. So start to shift weight into the left foot, spreading the left toes away from each other. And then lift up the right knee so that it's somewhat in line with the hip. Keep the right foot flexed so that we can shorten the muscles on the front of our shin, protecting the knee. Keep your hips on, or your hands on your hips so that you can feel if you're dumping into the left leg, or rather you want to lift out of the left hip, engage the muscles around the left hip, stabilizing the left leg. And then just rock your shin from back and forth, keeping the knee where it is, and feel for an internal rotation and external rotation in the hip, in the right hip. So here with the shin pointing inwards, this is an external rotation to the hip. We're not even moving the knee at all. We're just moving, the movement comes from the top of the femur bone in the hip socket. Good. And then pause back at center and stay here, or try and reach the knee higher, interlacing the fingers around the shin and pulling the knee in towards the chest. If you feel like you're rounding through the spine, back out of it a little bit. Maybe hands just come to the outer edges of your thigh. Keep stable through the left hip, and then we're going to open up the right knee towards the side of the room. Feeling for an external rotation to that hip socket. One more inhale here. And then exhale, come back to center. Replace the right foot. And then shift weight into the right foot, spreading the right toes first. We want to create a nice, stable foundation. And so a wider base it will help with the balance. Wider base is better than a smaller one. Inhale the left leg up, keeping the left foot flexed, and then do that same exercise, keeping the knee completely still, but just moving from the hip joint. And you can feel the rotation happening if you put your left hand on your left hip. All right, and then try and bring the right or the left knee up into the chest, wrapping the hands around the left shin, pulling up, using your biceps to pull the knee in towards the chest, bypassing the ribs, actually pulling it up towards the left armpit. And then release, bring the left knee out towards the side. One more deep inhale, and then exhale back to center. Replace the left foot. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale the right leg up. Interlace your fingers around the right shin. And here, if you want a step further, grab for the, on the outside of the right foot, grab for the big toe with the two first fingers of the right hand. Left hand comes to the hip and extend through the right knee. Try and stay tall in the upper body. And if you don't have that toe, you can just extend through the right leg and hold here. If you have the toe, bring it out towards the side, or do the same variation that we did on the other side. If you tried it out and you said, nope, you can bend right back into that knee, hold it here for one more breath, and then bring it back to center, and then replace the right foot. Take a breath. Inhale the left knee up, interlace the fingers, other finger on top, little added consciousness there. Might feel a little bit more funky, but it's good to even out and balance the body. Exhaling to press the knee in and up, and then grab for the outer foot, grabbing for the big toe, and straighten through the leg. Keep that left foot flexed and pull back the left arm into the socket. Bring the leg out towards the side, feeling for an external rotation to left hip. One more deep inhale. Exhale back to center. Plant the left foot down. Take a deep breath in, dropping through the hands and out. Plant weight into the right foot and then step the left foot back. Find a warrior two pose. Planting the left sole of the foot onto the ground and a 90-ish degree angle with the right leg. Take a look at the right knee and see if you are bowing inward or outward. If you are, come out of your lunge slightly so that you can keep the relationship to knee and toes in the same direction. Try and rotate the hips towards the side of your space, and then extend the arms towards the sides of the room, gazing out past right fingertips. Press into the outer edge of the left foot so that you can keep the integrity of the left arch. Nice, strong, straight leg, thigh lifting up. Flip the right palm up towards the ceiling. Inhale to reach forward, and then exhale, reverse your warrior. Right hand reaching up towards the sky, left hand coming to the left shin or thigh. Or if you want to get all fancy like, you can wrap the left hand around the low back, finding the right hip crease and pressing the right thigh away from the right hip crease. One more deep inhale here, fanning open through the right rib cage. And then exhale, bring the right forearm onto the top of the right thigh and left arm up towards the sky. Take a deep inhale here. And then exhale, warrior two. Start to come up onto the left toes, turning forward into a high lunge position. Keep a deep bend into the right knee. One more inhale, gaze comes up. And then exhale, hinge forward into an extension, float the back toes, and step up into a mountain pose. Arms reach up overhead, and then exhaling, hands come towards your sides. We're gonna do the same thing on the left side. So start to work the right foot behind you into a warrior two position. And the idea here is to open the hips up towards the side of the room. But if that knee is pulled inward, it means that you probably have pretty tight hips. So it's okay if the hips don't completely open up towards the side, but that's the idea. Arms reach out, fingertips in one line with one another. Keep the lunge low. Ribs stacked over the hips. And allow the shoulders to melt down away from the ears. Flip the left palm up, reach forward, and then reverse the warrior. Keeping low in that left knee, left shoulder away from left ear. And whatever variation you did on the other side, go there now. Here, not only think about opening up through the left side body, but also compressing the right side body. One more inhale. Exhale, warrior two. From here, side angle pose, dropping down onto the left forearm, connecting with left thigh. Right fingertips reach up towards the sky. One inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Start to come up onto the right toes, right heel lifts, arms sweep up, low lunge. This time, leveling out, squaring off through the hips towards the front of the room. Deep inhale, start to extend forward, and then bring the right knee up into your mountain pose. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Good. Drop your hands down by your sides. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands down and come down onto the knees. Measure out hips width distance with the feet, with the knees. And then we're going to go through a camel variation, not camel pose, but more of a fluid camel. So start to hinge your way back, finding a space for your left hand to go down somewhere on the left side of you. And then inhale the right arm up overhead, opening up through the chest. Gaze comes up if available. And then exhale, sweep the right arm down towards the left. Sweeping forward, planting the right hand somewhere along right side body. And then inhale the chest up towards the sky. Exhale, sweep all the way down, hinging the hips back. And then repeat on the other side. Exhale, sweep the arm all the way down. Try and find a nice fluid motion. Fluid breath, exhaling to come down. Switching sides, and then your inhale lifts you up. Press the hips towards the front of your space. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, come up. And we're going to do both sides one last time. Stay connected with the breath. And then when you come back to center, start to extend the legs back. And we're just going to come down onto the bellies. Onto the belly. If you had multiple bellies, wow, that's quite the mutation there. Popping up onto the forearms so that we're in somewhat of a sphinx pose. Press the toes in towards the mat. Trying to actually press more weight into the pinky toes so that we can create an internal rotation to both hips. Pull your elbows back towards your body without actually moving them so that can send the heart forward, squeezing the shoulder blades. Just gaze out long in front of you. One deep inhale here. And then exhale, bring the chest all the way towards your mat. And we're gonna come into a half frog pose. So this could be a celebration and not for some people, depending on how your hips are. But you're gonna bring the left knee out towards the left, stacking it in line with the left hip. So we are in a 90-degree angle with the knee. The ankle is in line with the knee is in line with the hip. Start to bring your weight over towards the left so that you can feel a pulling along right side body, and then try and allow the head to drop down, maybe creating somewhat of a pillow with the forearms. And this is not so much of an active position, but more of a passive pose. It's a really great one to do before bed, if you've been sitting all day. If you'd like a little bit more, you can walk the forearms a little bit over towards the left, a couple more inches. Soften the eyes and focus on the breath. This is one of my favorite poses. I tend to have tighter hips, or hip flexors rather. So this pose really allows specifically the psoas muscle. Fun fact, the only muscle connecting the upper body to the lower body. And puts the left side in a slack position and the right side in an extension. Allowing the right side to stretch and the left side to rest. Take a deep inhale through the nose and soft exhale through the mouth. Start to walk your way towards the center of your mat, coming up onto the elbows. Bring the left leg straight behind you, and then the right knee out towards the side. Whatever variation you did on the other side, go there now. And this side could feel completely different than the other one. Just notice the subtle differences within the body. Focus the attention back onto the breath. If you're prone to making lists, things that you have to do this weekend or for work, draw the focus back to your inhalations and exhalations. Even if you have to remind yourself every 10 seconds, now I'm inhaling, now I'm exhaling. Because we can use our breath as a tool to keep us in the present moment. About 2 more full breaths here. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And gentle breath out of the mouth. Come back to center. Replace the right leg beside the left. And then press yourself up so that you're on your knees towards the back of your mat. Sit to one side of your heels and then work your hips into the center of your mat so that when we eventually go back, you'll be completely within your space. Rock your way back into the hips, lifting the heels. Just coming back into the boat position like we started class. And again, you can find your variation, whether you want to test yourself a little bit more and straighten through the legs. Or if you'd like a modification, heels can come down onto the mat. Wherever you are, inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep the core engaged, lowest rib pressing down towards the top of the hip. Exhale into a low boat. Inhale, come all the way back up. Keeping the spine long, exhale, low boat. Inhale up, knees in towards the chest, exhale, low boat. One more inhale, knees in towards the chest, exhale, low boat. Pump the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Rock from side to side, giving the low back a bit of a massage. And then extend the left leg long. Keep the right knee hugging in. Interlace your fingers around the right shin and pull in and upward towards that right armpit. Start to make your way into a twist, bringing right knee over towards the left. Adjusting the hips so that you can get the left hip completely underneath the right. This will keep the spine long in one straight line. And then gaze over towards the right. Right arm can be out towards the side or in a cactus position. But try and get the right shoulder to meet the mat, and don't worry so much about that right knee going towards the ground. It's okay if it's not on the ground. Start to bring the right knee back in towards midline. Adjust the hips, maybe even pressing into the feet so that you can level out through the hips. And then extend the right foot long. Interlace the other finger on top. Wrap it around the left shin, and then pull the left knee up in towards the chest. Maybe even up into the left armpit. And feel like you're grounding through the backs of your hips. See if you can get an additional sensation towards the top of the back left leg. And then start to sweep the left knee over towards the right. Stacking left hip on top of right this time. Then gazing out towards the left. An additional sensation that you can look for is pressing the left sits bone towards the right foot. And not always looking for a crack or an adjustment in your spine. Allow whatever happens to happen naturally, no force. Soften the left knee deeper towards the floor on your last exhale here. And then come back to center, adjusting through the hips, bringing the knees in towards the chest. And come into a happy baby pose. Hands either coming on the outsides of your feet, or if that's not attainable, you can grab for the outer edges of your shins and pull the knees in towards the armpits. Feet flexed, soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Try and keep your hips pressing towards the mat. And notice if you have a rounding in the spine, in the low back. Can you try and elongate the spine so that eventually one day the entirety of your back can be flat on the floor. If you'd like any rocking motions here, or straightening through one leg, straightening through the other, maybe coming into a plow pose, bringing the feet behind the head, if you know how to do so safely. For those of you that are wondering what that looks like, it looks something like this. Bringing the hands to low back, keeping the chin away from the chest. But if you're ready for your final pose, start to straighten through the legs. Giving a nice tug to the heels towards the front of the room. And then relaxing the ankles, the knees, the hips into the mat. Arms go out wide, take up as much space as you'd like. Keep the palms face upward, the eyes closed. Take one last deep breath in through the nose. Exhale softly through parted lips. Now let go of any type of breath control and simply allow the body to breathe itself. letting the breath go wherever it likes, whether that is more into the chest or down under the ribs. Allow any changes or the energy of class settle now. And draw attention to the space in between the eyebrows, the eyes closed, looking up towards the center of your forehead. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Or if you'd like to close out class in a seated position, start to deepen the breath. Rock the back of your head from side to side. Start to wiggle through the fingers and the toes, circling out the wrists and the ankles. Just introducing more movement into the body. Bring the knees in towards the chest. And either roll towards one side or rock back and forth, keeping the eyes closed or soft. And make your way into a seated position. Comfortable seat with crossing the shins or sitting on top of the shins. Bring the hands to heart center. Acknowledge your hard work and effort today. And carry with you this new sense of energy and breath throughout the rest of your day. Namaste.